Stop running after people that don't want you. That's a clear sign of low self-esteem.
If you don't see yourself as valuable, nobody else will. Own your own happiness and be responsible for doing those things that bring joy into your own heart, independently of life and people and money and all of that stuff.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily give you a happiness.
If you are looking for fame to define you, then you will never be happy.
As a Beatle, we made it, and there was nothing to do. We had money, we had fame, and there was no joy.
Go back to what you know. Go back to what worked for your mama and your grandmama and great-granddad and grandpa. That was Jesus.
Welcome back to An African Perspective.
Stop running after that. Listen to me. Stop running after people that don't want you. That's a clear sign of low self-esteem.
You have to own your own happiness. Take it away from other people demanding that they make you happy. Your kids are not going to make you happy. Your spouse is not going to make you happy. A big house is not going to make you happy. Own your own happiness and be responsible for doing those things that bring joy into your own heart, independently of life and people and money and all of that stuff.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily give you a happiness. You have to take responsibility of that peace and that joy that lives inside of your heart and not inside of your stuff.
You have to understand something. Sometimes being alone does not necessarily mean being lonely. You know what I mean? And you have to learn how to be by yourself. And sometimes God will leave you by yourself until you learn how to be by yourself. Because see, if you ain't ready to be by yourself, then people will really make a fool out of you. Because if you don't know how to be alone, people will be able to run any kind of game on you they want. Because they can threaten you by walking out the door.
Right.
If you don't do this, I'ma leave. If you don't deal with this, I'ma leave.
Enjoy your relationship with yourself. If you don't like you, it makes it hard for me to like you. Because people, when you walk into their atmosphere, they draw you into the cosmos of their own drama. And if they're full of drama without you, when you come in, you become caught up in the cyclone of their drama.
Yeah.
Enjoy your relationship with yourself. And then anybody else who comes in, they enter into a party you already started. You understand?
Yeah.
And then the relationship with your kids, the relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your friends, taking time to enjoy the relationships, because there is no fruit. Nature teaches us that there is no fruit without relationships. You cannot be fruitful by yourself in business, in home, in life, in church. I don't care what it is. You are no more than the relationships you surround yourself with, and make sure that those are good ones. Enjoy the journey, not the destination. A lot of us delay our happiness. When I get to this level, when I get my degree, when I get the kids, when I get married, I'm going to be happy. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the whole step, the whole process. Every day that you get up to strive for whatever it is you're after. You know, I'm a goal-oriented guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't celebrate when you get to the finish line. Celebrate all along the way. Make relationships count. Making your relationships count, because everything is about relationships. First of all, your relationship with God. That's a very important thing to have, because as long as you know that there's somebody in charge, you don't have to bear the brunt of the responsibility and the weight of what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
You can talk to the boss.
Go back to what you know. Go back to what worked for your mama and your grandmama and great-granddad and grandpa. That was Jesus. They was up all night calling on the name of Jesus, walking the floor praying for you, laying hands on you in the middle of the night. When you got sick, they was calling on Jesus. They had the prayer meetings in the house. There ain't nothing wrong with that name. It still works. He ain't gotten away from us. We getting away from him. Do you hear what I'm telling you? So you got to get rid of that, honey. You got to go back to church. You got to go back to what you know. You got to go back to your roots. Go back to church.
People torment themselves by how they see their life. They've told themselves a story as if it were the truth, when it is really a perspective truth. And sometimes you've narrated a story that you beat yourself to death with. Challenge your own story. Change the way you talk to yourself about who you are and what happened to you and what you're going to do in your life. You wrote the script. Change the story.
When I was young, I thought that success was all I needed. That's what was going to bring the happiness. Buying my mom a house, being the fame, the accolades, having people say, yo, you are the best in the game. I thought those would be the things that would bring happiness. And then when those things came, the happiness wasn't there. And I realized why that was. There was such an attempt to achieve these things and to keep going that you lose sight of the people and the blessings that you have around you. You're so focused on the next success, the next step in your career, the next check, whatever it is, and you forget the fact that you have these things that seem small, if you're looking that way, But if you look this way, you realize that the only thing that matters, and that's your mother, that's your family, that's love.
Well, I'm going to go through this discomfort, and then I'm going to get to a place of stillness, where it's all going to make sense. Finally, I made it. I'm here to tell you, the place doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's not a real place. It's a place that people look to as an inspirational goal, a destination. And that's going to be the thing that you work hard for. You're going to push until you get to this place, and then it's all going to be worth it. That place is not real. If you have $1 million, you want $1 billion. If you have a big house, you want a bigger house. You have to find out what actually makes you happy. And it's not having all your ducks in a row on paper. It's improvement. It's improvement in the way you manage your mind. It's improvement in the way you manage your emotions. It's understanding how you've made mistakes and how to improve upon them, and also understanding what you've done right and building upon that. All of those things are what make people happy, including love and friendship and being good at that. Being a good friend, being a good lover, being a good neighbor. All those things, those aren't distractions. Those are part of the big overall of being a human being. When you're around happy, inspirational people that are successful, it makes you feel better and you get inspired. And if you act on that inspiration, your life will be more fulfilled.
The most important journey I think all of us will go through is the journey in ourselves, to find our truth, to find who we are and what makes us happy.
I saw that if I wanted to live with myself, I was going to have to work on myself.
So what did I do? I started to say no. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I'm not taking that picture. I'm not going to that event. I'm not standing by that because that's not what I stand for. And slowly but surely I remembered who I am. And then you go home and you look in the mirror and you're like, yes, I can go to bed with you every night. Because that person, I know that person. That person has balls. That person has integrity. That person has an opinion.
A lot of people, black, white, Mexican, young or old, fat or skinny, have a problem being true to themselves. They have a problem looking in the mirror and looking directly into their own souls. I can look directly into my face and find my soul. It's there. It's not sold. I didn't sell it. It's still within me. I still feel it. My heart is still connected to my body.
I stopped doing what I had always been doing, which was the go, 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 pursue, pursue, pursue. And I sat still and listened to that inner voice and said, okay, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to create? What do you want your life to mean?
All we need is to feel valued, feel loved by the people around us, and to be doing something that makes us feel alive, whether that's creating something, it's art, it's beautiful, making a change, making a difference. Everything else, social approval, and all this excess money.
There's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for $36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic, that's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1 million, $1 billion, and then there's people starving. There's no way.
I would prefer a culture that didn't celebrate, exacerbate, stimulate the most negative aspects of our species, inculcate them, reward them financially, till we get to a kind of a cultural hysteria where we're destroying the planet.
I don't believe we're these miserable animals wired to maximize self-interest. I think that actually goes against our nature and causes us a lot of pain.
I had everything a man could want, even then. I was a millionaire. I had beautiful women in my life. I had cars, a house, an incredible, solid gold career, and a future. And yet, on a daily basis, I wanted to commit suicide.
The Beatles, we made it, and there was nothing to do. We had money, we had fame, and there was no joy.
The media told me every day, and it's telling you every day what it is to be successful. So you've got MTV Cribs, you've got billionaires in front of your face, you have these extrinsic, external goals that will say, oh, Tom Shadyac has arrived. He has the right house, the right car, he flies privately. And when I got there, it was empty.
I was successful in the music business, I was successful in modeling, in television, in real estate. So I made all this money and I had all this success. And here I was going, okay, I still don't feel any different.
We are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But that's not entirely true.
I don't like wasting my time spending days just shaking people's hands and smiling, taking selfies. It feels shallow to my existence. I have a lot more to offer than my image. I don't like being used to make people money. I feel sad when I'm overworked and that I just become a money-making machine and that my passion and my creativity take a back seat. That makes me unhappy.
If you are looking for fame to define you, then you will never be happy, and you will always be searching for happiness, and you will never find it in fame.
I was surrounded by all this wealth and all this fame and all this power, and yet they were all miserable, and I had never been more miserable.
You know, I thought that all would be helped and healed and soothed by fame. Because when I get famous, then I will be less lonely, and I will be understood, and I will be loved, and that love will go in and heal any of the broken parts. And then I came to see that it was actually quite isolating.
What I thought was, if you want to be happy, you've got to become a successful person, you've got to acquire stuff, you've got to have people adore you, you've got to become glamorous. Because I felt small, I felt alienated, alone, and I felt very, very powerless in Grace. Then what happened was, I then experienced the things that I was culturally indoctrinated to believe would be a kind of salvation. Fame, fortune, attention, limitless fellatio if required. And yet, salvation did not come. You know, when I went back to where I was from, when I got there, there was a sort of a sense of despair that I wasn't really prepared for. The place I'd come from had deteriorated, it had become worse.
Balance work with play. You can't do all of either one and be successful. And to those whom much is given, much is required. And if you work really hard and you're a really diligent person, make sure that you do some play to balance your life out. If you play real hard but you don't work very much, you're going to be fun, but you're going to be hungry. You know what I'm saying? You got to balance work with play. You have to balance that with your children. If you're always a disciplinarian, your daddy going to get you when you get home. I don't want to always be the police in the house.
Yeah.
I want to be the fun guy sometimes. Balancing work with play called this not only for you to be holistic, but for people to get a better perspective of who you are. I get on my Instagram and I put crazy stuff. My kids die. I just yesterday, I put me sweating in the gym saying they said it's going to be fun, but it hadn't gotten fun yet. You know, to let people know that everything is not serious every day. That's too much pressure. We've got way too much pressure on us to be the people we were created to be.
That's all for the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button and share. Also leave a comment if you have a topic you want us to cover. Until next time, take care.